Now we're back after episode E3 2018. Me and Vikas. Let's talk about the one that we're divided on actually. That I am unbelievably hyped for, and you poo-pooed. How dare you? Cyberpunk 2077. If you haven't seen the trailer for this, man, you're missing out. It is so good. So, why do you think it's going to be crap? So, for the benefit of anybody who doesn't know what it is, so it's by CD Projekt Red, who made Witcher 3. Pretty much seen as universally as like the best PC game of all time. It's They first announced it in 2012 with a really great trailer, but it was zero data, just like a cool trailer. It's based on an RPG, old RPG. It's cyberpunk, just straight up cyberpunk. And they haven't announced a release date. They've just said it's going to be ready when it's ready, which I think that's something that CD Projekt Red do now, especially after Witcher 3.
Oh yeah, yeah. They
So
have to up.
why are
So
you skeptical, Vikas? Because I'm very
yeah, I was going to say
excited.
I haven't poo-pooed it. I was skeptical. So
Yeah,
I want to turn the clock.
yeah,
Right, I want to bring the clock back to 2011. There was this brilliant video, rendered video for Dead Island,
yeah.
and if you haven't watched it, please watch that video. It's firstly it's a tearjerker. It's probably one of
It
the
actually no, it
best.
is. It was. I remember that now. It is a
What?
really good.
Yeah,
It's a really
it
good
is a
trailer.
it is a really, really, really good trailer.
Yeah,
Probably the best that has ever been made for a game. As everyone will remember, Dead Island was so shit
yeah,
that which company was it? Deep Silver. Deep Silver was not allowed to make future Dead Island games, and not just that, but the franchise is now effectively dead. And it was so bad that effectively everyone who played it just went, "Why?
yeah,
Why is this?" Um, so yeah, I mean, good trailers, good to have, but I'm always skeptical. I get a little bit skeptical when the trailers are that good
mm,
and the game comes out a year or two later, and it's just like I can see why it took so much time. You really did not flesh it out beyond that awesome trailer. I can see where all of your focus and money went.
yeah,
Now, another one where that was an example is No Man's Sky. If you haven't
yeah,
watched that trailer, that was amazing too, in case you don't remember.
yeah.
Back in 2016, yeah.
Yeah, I never played it, but I did see the hype about it, and yes, it definitely disappointed a lot of people.
I was one of them.
Yeah,
So to date, it is literally the only game I've ever asked Steam for a refund.
sure. Having said all that, though, so I mean, No Man's Land was made by like an indie developer who just continued to make more and more promises, and obviously just had no understanding of how to deliver on it. Which, I mean, the big one for me that sits in that category is Star Citizen. Like, if you read the promises they've made about Star Citizen and how you'll be able to seamlessly go from planetary surfaces all the way across the galaxy and this and that and the other, like you're just like, there's no way this is going to happen. Even though they got like $150 million in crowdfunding money.
I
Um,
thought that all went down the pisser. Isn't the company like in administration or
no, it's
something
still
now?
going. They're at like Alpha Build 32 or something. Whether
Oh,
it actually becomes a proper game, who knows? Um, but yeah, there's obviously that is a thing, but CD Projekt Red, they're a private company. They're not, it's not like Bethesda where they've got corporate overlords. CD Projekt Red are like their whole thing is single player games. Their whole thing is making high quality games. They said the same, from what I understand, they said the same thing about Witcher. They said it's gonna be ready when it's ready, and they made
and
an
Witcher Three
absolute
was
a
Witcher
masterpiece.
Three. Yeah, Witcher Three was the best game of
Yeah.
2014 by far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
still play. I
yeah.
still play it today.
It I just I can't describe how amazing I think Witcher 3 is. Like I've only just started playing it like late last year, this year, so it took me a while to get around to it. But it's just blown me away. And so, we're coming from a company which has a track record of like good games. Like Witcher 2 is pretty good, but like Witcher 3 is amazing. And they've also
Really,
like it sounds like they've
I was.
actually spent their pre-production time not just pissing it away with doing nothing. Like they really understand what they want to do. They really know where they want to go with the game. I read an article that sort of looked at the first, like I think it was about 50 minutes of gameplay they kind of described. Now, of course, companies have been hoodwinked before. Reporters have been hoodwinked before by games. But the way they described it sounds like kind of like, what a high quality RPG sounds like. Like, it's not just
Yep.
spin. It sounds like it's, the real deal. So
Well, like I said,
I'm hyped off the charts at how
well,
good
it doesn't matter because both of us have our pre-orders in, and we're going to. Well, do you have your pre-order?
for
I was just saying, both of
Cyberpunk.
us. Yeah,
Well, I will once it's available for pre-order for sure.
yeah. I was going to say, yeah. I don't think anything's so. But anyway, both of us will end up getting it, and I'm sure we'll. You know what? We'll do a like a streaming play of it.
Sure. I don't think it's going to be co-op, so it might have to be both of us simultaneously playing it. Actually, having said that, the game which interests me a little bit that is co-op is Fallout 76. Now, did you play Fallout 4?
Yes, I did.
What do you think
and
of
I think
it?
I made the. So here's the thing. I was a huge fan of New Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, a couple of notable glitches aside.
Yeah.
I think everybody knows about the soda glitch, which suddenly causes you to get dehydrated.
Okay. I don't think I encountered that, but I played it way after it had been released. So, like, I think they'd patched most of the bugs. So it was okay.
Okay, so
yeah.
Right. So the thing is, my introduction to the Fallout series was with Fallout 3, which is arguably probably the best time to get involved in Fallout.
Yep.
So I liked Fallout 3 so much that I went and bought Fallout New Vegas.
Yep.
And that was a glitchy but fun bug fest.
Yes.
Having said that, though, Fallout 4, I got it on the PS4. I couldn't help but feel what Fallout really wanted to make was Minecraft.
Yep.
Right. That was my entire Fallout 4 experience.
Yeah.
There was nothing about the storyline that kind of stuck out.
No. Mind you, the Fallout 3 storyline was pretty rubbish as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
to
really,
be fair, yeah, Fallout's never good with storyline.
Yeah, I mean, I played Fallout 2.
New Vegas was good.
Yes, and that was because it was developed by a company who knows what they're doing. So Obsidian Games, which is they make Pillars of Eternity, but previously a lot of the team members were involved in Fallout back when it was made by Interplay. So Black Isle Studio, which made a number of, like Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, a number of really good Planescape Torment, really good RPGs. They're really immersive, really great, like quality interactions and story. So yeah, like that's why it was so much better. But yeah, Fallout 3 and 4, the story is just weak as piss. Like, it's just awful, really.
Yeah,
but I mean, the experience of Fallout is just like roaming around the wilderness, like doing crazy stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But anyway, so Fallout 4, for the life of me, I don't think I actually finished the main storyline.
No, I didn't.
I literally got stuck into effectively Minecraft, like just sitting there and building my little city, which was fine. And then eventually I went, why don't I just play Minecraft?
Yeah. Unless you're going to do shenanigans, the settlement system was kind of lame. Like, it was fun initially, but like after you'd done like one or two settlements, it's like, there's no real point. Like, this doesn't give you anything. And it's a pain in the butt as well to deal with. Like, you get all these notifications that your settlements are under attack and you go there and, it's just kind of
But also it was completely inconsequential.
Yes, that was the worst thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, actually, that kind of reminded me of, there was another game that was like, I can't remember. Come back to me.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was my experience with Fallout 4. But I have a suspicion, so Fallout 76
yes,
kind of looks like what they're trying to do is get on the Left 4 Dead 2 sort of co-op gameplay sort of. That's what it kind of looked like, trying to bring that, four-player co-op into the game thing while trying to take on some...
Yeah, well, I mean, Left 4 Dead, though, it's essentially like kind of an on-rails shooter. Yeah, where this is going to be open world.
So I
thought it was more like DayZ.
Yeah.
So, obviously PUBG, that's a competitive game because you've got, like, the enclosing environment and all this kind of stuff, where DayZ is more just kind of, like, slowly grinding it out, slowly finding more gear, killing each other. That's what I thought it might be like. But it does actually seem like it's going to be Fallout 4 online, essentially.
Yes.
Looking at some of the gameplay stuff. So in the Bethesda presentation, so they showed the trailer which made it seem very sort of DayZ-like. Then they showed some of the gameplay, and it kind of, it shows them wandering around in this massive world, which is what I like about Fallout in general. Like going past all this like ruined radio towers and overpasses and, like little huts that are here and there and, kind of devastated wilderness and sort of city areas. Like that's kind of what I like the look of about Fallout, even though they're not pretty games. Just that visual style is good. So that's encouraging. Like there was like massive mining machines that were going off, and so if it's more Fallout 4, I might be into it. I mean, building the settlement seems like it might be more interesting. Like that you'll actually fight bigger things. You'll fight other humans, and they said it's going to have dozens of players, not hundreds, which is more encouraging. Because if it was like World of Warcraft, I don't know if I'd be up for that. Just too many
World
people.
World of Warcraft only works because it's an MMO. And, the idea is basically epic scale. But
they also said nukes. Did you say anything about nukes in Fallout?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. Like that seems like it could be a laugh. Like nuking another settlement. I think you have to be pretty cold-hearted to not find that hilarious.
Yeah. However, one thing I did find hilarious. What was it? Skyrim Special Edition.
Oh yeah, the Alexa thing.
That was great.
Yeah. So for the benefit of those who didn't see it before, at the start of the Bethesda E3 presentation, they did a joke trailer, which was Skyrim on Alexa.
Yeah, they had the Keenan, or was it Peele?
Yeah. Michael Keenan, Michael Key, or whatever it is. And showing him playing, like interacting with Alexa to play Skyrim. Playing off the joke that Skyrim has been basically every year it's been Skyrim's on Switch or Skyrim's on this or that. Don't get me wrong, Skyrim's a good game, but if they'd actually just done another version of Skyrim, it would have been a bit frustrating. They did have a 20-second trailer or like a 1 minute long trailer that didn't show anything for like the next Elder Scrolls game. They didn't even have the name for it. So that was kind of a bit stupid because it's like, well, we know they're making it. Like it's not like we don't know they're making it. So they're going to do this like nothing burger trailer just to say that they're definitely doing the game. Like who cares?
So that confuses me because they've been announcing updates to the Elder Scrolls online. They're talking about like patches and stuff like that they're doing for it. So I kind of assumed that the Elder Scrolls franchise had basically gone MMO in the same way that the World of Warcraft.
No, it's a separate studio. It's not actually Bethesda Softworks or whoever does Elder Scrolls. Yeah. That's not the studio who does Elder Scrolls Online. It's actually a separate studio that does Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
So and I'm pretty sure I looked at this the other night. It's like the studio that does Elder Scrolls ESO, they only have done ESO. So obviously it's like a separate thing they've just set up just to do that thing. Which would mean that it's not interfering with anything to do with
the actual Elder Scrolls universe.
And I mean, really, if Fallout 76 is Fallout 4 online, I mean, they've said that they've improved the engine a bit, but like it could just be like a 4K overhaul or just a graphical overhaul. Like presumably that wouldn't take as much development time than like a full game. Like, I mean, the distance between Elder Scrolls games and Fallout games is about 5 or 6 years. So,
just I guess we should round out the usuals coming in the E3. So, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the next iteration.
Yep.
Which look, as someone who played Assassin's Creed Origins, hoping
that was the most recent one, right?
Yeah, that's the most recent one. I was really, really hoping. So, and I'm going to be stealing from Yahtzee, so zero punctuation here. Assassin's Creed is one of those things that's been around for so long. It's effectively a line graph.
Yeah.
Right? So, you started off at Assassin's Creed 1. Look, I loved Assassin's Creed 1. The entire concept was amazing. I really liked playing it. And then when Assassin's Creed 2 came out, I was just like, oh my God, this is so much better.
Yeah.
Right?
The ending of Assassin's Creed 2 is actually still one of the best endings to a game that I've ever encountered, like in terms of storyline, because it got really weird, and that's actually awesome. It was an awesome ending. I was like, and then I played Brotherhood and went, oh, no.
Yeah,
no
so Brotherhood. So what I find about Brotherhood is everyone hates the storyline. Nobody likes the storyline in Brotherhood because it was shit. Because, like, let's face it, what I suspect what happened at Ubisoft is they found out everybody loved Ezio, right?
Yep.
Except the way the story was done in 2 effectively left them. The story was so good in 2. It's just like, how can we possibly lead on from there?
Yeah.
Because we need to keep Ezio around because people like it.
Yep.
Right? They have to, like, it was just contrivance on top of contrivance to keep that story going.
Yep.
And as a result, they successfully killed off any love the fan base had for Ezio.
Yep.
But they introduced so many really interesting game mechanics in that. And I think that's the first one that they had the hook shot in, isn't it?
Okay. It's been so long since I've played it, I can't even tell you.
So the hook shot is pretty much, I think Origins is the first game without it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know, like, it's always something that you get late stage in every or in every Assassin's Creed game. Except I don't think the Origins have it because, well, it's going to be hard to have hook shots in, you know. And I think it's pretty much universally agreed that Assassin's Creed 3 is the ginger-headed stepchild that nobody likes.
Yep.
So, you know, Assassin's Creed is your bottom point. Then Black Flag came out, and Black Flag, as far as I can tell, is Assassin's Creed making something completely random and fun, and something that almost had nothing to do with assassination, and was by far, and like it got back to you know, Assassin's Creed 2 levels of fun.
Yeah.
And that's because very little of it had anything to do with Assassin.
Yep.
Then you had
Assassin's the French Revolution one was the next one, wasn't it? After that, was
Unity.
Unity,
yeah. That was
which
awful.
is just bug central. All I remember is just the screenshots of people without their faces but still with their eyeballs and teeth. That was kind of disturbing,
horrifying. Yeah. But also the thing is, they put everything together, and it was just like, I don't know why, but I'm not having fun with this. It just seemed like a list of chores. That game was just a gigantic list of chores.
Which, I mean, to be fair to open world games, that's often the case.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of that in GTA. Not that I've played GTA 5, but when I played GTA 4, I noticed that. Even Batman, I mean, that's the last kind of, I think... Arkham. I tried to play Arkham Knight, but I couldn't because on PC it's completely shite. But, like, it just doesn't work. It's just the frame rate is in the toilet all the time. But, yeah, most open world games struggle with that. I mean, even The Witcher, I mean, that's probably, that is by far the best open world game there ever has been.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of side stuff where it's a bit of a drag.
But the point is, but the way you're right. It's all of these games are about doing stuff. But the thing is, so the way GTA keeps people's interests piped, right, is your abilities get unlocked as you keep going up.
Yep. Right.
And not only does it unlock your abilities, it gives you things like, oh, now you have an airfield. Now you have a high-rise apartment, like things like that. Well, as Unity, like Unity was basically a love story in an Assassin's Creed setting, right? So it just, there was an incongruity. There was an incongruity of tone that comes as a result of like the basic plot line, and then simultaneously, instead of like leveling up and doing like this whole thing where you're becoming like this super organization built to take out Templars, it kind of like star-crossed lovers sort of thing. So it felt like, so I'm doing this all so I might eventually get to bone the Templar chick? I don't know. It just didn't feel, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going into Assassin's Creed history, and Syndicate was just boring.
Yep.
You could predict the entire storyline right from. You knew exactly how it was going to end.
Right.
And it's because I suspect anyone who had any talent had left, and it was just the grads doing all the work at that stage. So there wasn't that much creativity. There wasn't, you know.
Whoever's last to leave, turn off the lights.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's why I think it was a good thing that they took a year off. So they took 2016 off, right? They did not release a game in 2016. And then they brought out Origins. Now, you know what my biggest complaint about Origins is? Now, everyone who's played Origins knows that the story in Origins is not the story of the origin of the Assassin Order.
Oh.
Which is what you would expect it to be. Unlike the title.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for like some historical context or, you know, like some explanation of the history of the Assassin Order, you're going to be left with the biggest historical blue balls in the existence of man. So yeah, I mean, it did not leave. It did not answer anything.
Yep.
In fact, it left me completely unsatisfied with the storyline. And I'm still someone, despite the fact that they're getting shit and shittier, I keep giving Assassin's Creed another chance.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in an abusive relationship right now,
yeah.
where Ubisoft just takes my money and gives me crap.
I think you're not the only one.
What I'm hoping is their studio pulls off another Black Flag.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the thing. Like, I mean, I guess they're sort of, I don't know, maybe there's like a sort of a quantity is a quality of its own. They're sort of, you know, like if they produce one every year, then maybe every second one's good. I mean, they wouldn't keep doing it if it wasn't making money. So obviously, people are still into it. I think for me, it was like after I played Brotherhood, because Assassin's Creed 2 was like had a crap combat system, but it was saved by the fact that it was weird. It had this like super like awesome like conspiratorial vibe, like all the puzzles you were doing in the computer were all like like all this sort of conspiratorial stuff, and I really liked that about Assassin's Creed 2. Like I thought that was what it made it interesting.
But part of Assassin's Creed 2 was if you got into combat, you failed, right? You weren't meant to get into combat as much as possible.
No, you didn't. You just go counterattack, bam. You know, they go to hit you, you go counterattack, and then stab them in the face. Well, like I think about the same time I played Batman Arkham City, which is just brilliant. You know, it's just such a pleasure to play for the combat. So even if the story.
Doesn't everything have that combat system from Arkham City though? Yeah,
pretty much now because it's so good. So I mean, after Brotherhood, I was like, I don't care. But I guess there's people out there still willing to give it a crack. It still looks like a great, like visually they look like good games, as in like the quality of the graphics and the rest of it. So I guess sitting, and also I'm a PC gamer, so I'm sitting, you know, like I'm into strategy games. I think if you want to sit, PC. You know, say again.
Assassin's Creed is on the PC.
I know, but like for console gamers, it's obviously a very different experience. Like sitting there in, you know, high definition TV, like that's probably maybe that has an attraction to some people. Just like, you know, lots of PC gamers, like the big PC shooter is not, you know, Black Ops. Or Call of Duty. It's going to be Battlefield or
Battlefield 5.
Well, there's Battlefield 5. Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
So Battlefield 5 is another game that seems to be attracting attention from internet. I don't know how the best way to describe them is.
Angry dudes on the internet. That's the way to describe it.
Yeah, angry dudes on the internet. I'm sitting there going like, because there were no chick fighters. There were no female fighters in there. It's like you're playing Battlefield, right? What part of playing Battlefield has ever screamed historically accurate to you?
Well, the thing was, okay, so like the picture was of a female Russian sniper, which did actually, well, it was a thing. Like it wasn't, like it's not like they're making it up. Like there were female Russian snipers. Interesting, as a side note, I found out there was Russian female fighter, or basically bombers, in wooden planes. Essentially, they would fly in these dinky old wooden planes, turn off the engine, glide in and drop bombs on the Germans, and they called them the Night Witches because they just say they'd hear the swishing of the planes and think that they were witches, and the planes went so slow that they actually struggled to all their Messerschmitt whatever actually struggled to fight them because the stall speed for the fighters was high, like faster than those planes actually flew, so they literally couldn't fly slow enough to catch them, which I just thought was like the coolest thing ever. Apart from the fact they were Soviets, which meant they were essentially all totalitarian assholes. Communist. But whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway,
No, but that's hilarious. So that's been the latest controversy, and I kind of sit there going like, you guys can't just sit back and have fun.
Yeah.
Like
no, Rick, it's serious. They're fighting for the men and angry feelings and God knows what else. I don't know. They just people. I don't understand why people get mad over these things.
No, look. To be perfectly honest, there are examples where social justice, the ideals of social justice, where you've got to have equal representation, and you've got to have people of color and all of that other fun stuff, can ruin a game. And if you want a really good example of that, I would like to point you to Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which was a fucking snooze fest. And you know why? Because the only thing they did in that game was take Unity and went, what was wrong with Unity? It didn't have a female protagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they just went, okay, so we'll just do that, copy and paste, Do it all in London, right? Don't bother trying to update the storyline. Don't bother trying to do anything. And hence why Assassin's Creed Syndicate
Sure,
was
but
one of the worst.
that's not the fault of social justice. Like, not okay. I know I get it. For some reason, people accuse me of being a lefty, and not to sort of really defend social justice, but like that's not the fault of social justice warriors that a crap game that was remade into another crap game was crap. You know, like Unity was crap.
I agree with you.
Yeah, so it's not like social justice warriors ruined Syndicate. It was a crap game that just happened to draw the ire of social justice warriors. I mean, like, there's actually, I mean, we were talking about this off air, but like Warhammer, there's a really, like, it's a game for, men in their white dudes in their 30s. And so when the issue comes up of diversity, like, some people get really upset. They really, the thought of having, female Space Marines is always the one that drives people off the deep end for some reason.
Oh my God, yes. I sit there and go like, play Sisters of Battle.
Yeah.
Just like, but they're not female Space Marines. I go like, no, they're better. They're null. They're psychically null, meaning they don't appear in the war.
That's Sisters of Silence. But anyway, not to get drawn into it. But I mean, like, for me, like, I've turned around on this. Like, I used to be, you can't do that. But it's like, who cares if they're female Space Marines? Like, if they actually did female Space Marines, I would not care. Like, it doesn't bother me that they don't exist. But like, on the same token, like, it wouldn't bother me that they do exist. Where I think for a lot of hardcore Warhammer players, they would be outraged. It's like, why get mad over these things? Why?
There is actually a reason given. Sorry, there's
sure.
There's
you can just like
There's a reason given in an old codex.
Yes, of course there was.
Right?
Yeah.
As to why there aren't any female space.
And as a friend of mine whose views I've come around to agree, because we had, I've had this argument a few times over the years, and the points that she made was essentially, you just wave your hands away. It's all you just by magic, by technology. It's different. And I'm like, actually, that's totally like, it's just a fictional setting.
I mean, it's all fiction. Yeah.
But so anyway, just to get
but I never have an objection to people like doing what social justice warriors want, which in my mind is a little bit of it's actually a form of cultural graffiti, right?
Yeah.
What it is it takes something that's there, and like your friend said, just hand wave, because it's all fiction. You can just get rid of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, so technically what you're doing is cultural graffiti. Yeah. Right? You're taking something that's existed and you're waving your hands because you can, right? Get rid of it. And you might have taken away what made that thing special in the first place. Not necessarily. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. There's no hard and fast rule about this.
Yeah.
Whether people enjoy art or not is very subjective.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? So I'm never going to say every time you do it, it's going to be bad.
Yeah,
every time you do it, it's going to be good. Right?
And
but the point is, yes.
Not to drag on the discussion about this particular thing, but like, one of the great things about being a nerd in the time we live in is that gamers have choice. If you don't want your Commander Shepard to be a girl, don't make a girl Commander Shepard. If you don't want your Space Marines to be chicks, don't have chick Space Marine. Just do models in dudes. And that's true of any. So there's other stuff going on with Warhammer where people, they change the setting or they change this or that. It's like, if you don't like that thing, just don't do that thing. If you, So anyway.
Yeah, so
back to E3, back to Battlefield 5. Are you going to play Battlefield 5? Did you play Battlefield? Because it was Battlefield 1 was the last one, right? It was the World War 1.
Battlefield 1, yeah.
Did you play it?
So the answer is yes, I did. I picked it up on sale. And you know what? I left Battlefield for a long time.
Yep.
And having come back, I really, really enjoyed it. It wasn't just a graphics upgrade that they've done to it. So, yes, there was a huge element of the graphics update.
Yep.
But the way the gameplay is, like Battlefield now, based on Battlefield 5 years ago, is so different.
Okay.
Right? Back then, it was like basically verging on bullet hell shooting. Right? Now it's a lot more tactically oriented.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Battlefield 1. I'm looking forward to see what Battlefield 5.
Because I played a ton of Bad Company, and I think, what was the one after Bad Company? I forget what it is. So I think I played Battlefield 3. I got Battlefield 3. And didn't really play. I think there was issues with the server, so I just got sick of trying to play that and ended up playing League of Legends anyway, which, that was kind of the end of me.
So I played Battlefield 3, and I think it's the one after. No, there was one.
There's 3, then 4, then Hardline, then 1. Anybody who doesn't understand these things inherently is going to be like, what? It went 3, then 4, and then 1? but that's how they do it.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at my games list. So I have Battlefield 3 and I have Battlefield 4
Okay.
and Battlefield 1.
Okay. Oh, well, maybe we'll play
So
some Battlefield 5 when it comes out. We'll do that as a stream.
I'm not going to buy it until it's on sale.
Okay.
Perfectly honest.
Maybe I should get Battlefield 1 on sale and we can play.
That's a good idea. So the other one that's kind of doing the rounds, and I know you hate console exclusives, is Death Stranding.
Okay.
The Hideo Kojima.
Even
Hideo
worse,
Kojima,
it's a console game that involves Japanese people. I really don't like Japanese console games. They just.
But it has the guy who plays Daryl on
Walking Dead.
Yeah, Walking Dead. Yeah. So that might be interesting. Actually, you know, one that I'm going to be disappointed about is Doom Eternal.
Yeah, actually.
I can already tell I'm gonna...
Yeah. So, I just looked up the Death Stranding, and it's got Norman Reedus, so Daryl from Walking Dead, and it's got Mads Mikkelsen. That's actually pretty interesting. Mads Mikkelsen, who was the bad guy in Casino Royale.
So because it's Hideo Kojima, it means it's going to have all sorts of freaky shit with like monsters with like 20 tits.
Long-winded metaphysical discussions. Like that's always the thing that stood out in what was it? Metal Gear Solid 2. The second one on PS3. That was just awful at the end. Anyway.
Redundant dialogue. My God.
Yeah.
How does this go?
Walk 2 steps. Another 5 minutes of like going through just dialogue.
So here's my question. So I've never been a Hideo Kojima fan.
Yep.
But if you are a Hideo Kojima fan, please tell me what is it about his games that get people coming back? Because I've tried, and I could not get there.
Well, apparently the most recent Metal Gear was Phantom. The most recent Metal Gear Solid, anyway, was really good.
Phantom Pain. Yeah. I stopped playing it after an hour and a half. Yeah. I gave it a try. I just can't deal with that much dialogue. So it's at some point you have to give me gameplay.
Yeah. Anyway, you were saying you mentioned something after the.
So Doom.
Doom Eternal.
Doom.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I didn't play Doom 2016.
Came out 2 years ago.
It's Doom 2016 is one of those ones which I want to go back and play.
Dude, it is my I'm frustrated game. Oh my God, it was for a long time shooters have been devolving obviously Half-Life 2 was a high point in the shooter.
Yes.
Existence. And it's kind of just been gradually devolving out from that.
Half-Life was and Half-Life 2 were a milestone because they changed the Doom formula. So, when Doom came out, it obviously was like did something not completely different, obviously, because there was Wolfenstein before it. But, in terms of, it just the action and the intensity of the action and, first person and all the games followed from that. And really it was up until, Half-Life was the one that really broke the mold because it actually had a real plot line. Like it had a real story that wasn't just, here's bad guys to fight.
Yeah, it basically did a storytelling aspect. Yeah. There was narrative, there was set pieces, there were puzzles, right? That kind of thing. And that didn't exist in shooters before that. And then kind of after Half-Life did it, everybody kind of had to do it, and it kind of it kind of started devolving out from that. But Doom 2016 basically said, hey, remember what was fun? Being able to fire a rocket at your feet to propel yourself up to the other side. Wasn't that fun? Let's bring that back. So that's what Doom 2016 did, and my God, it was the most fun game of 2016. And it's still my my stress relief game. Now the thing is, and I really liked Wolfenstein. What was it?
The Colossus?
No, not the New Order.
A New Order, sorry.
Yeah, that was in 2014. That was my game before. That was the game that I liked before Doom 2016 came out. And that was like a send-off to what effectively all the absurdity of what narrative-driven, the narrative-driven, I guess you could say the conclusion of what Half-Life 2 had brought about. Yep. So it's a logical conclusion. It was the send-off to that era of shooters. And then 2016 came back and went Doom 2016 came back and went remember all that fun stuff? Let's bring all of that back.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal just seems like a graphics refresh on that same idea.
Yep.
So I'm just like...
Well, that's pretty much what Doom's always been.
Yeah,
It's not,
so I'm
it's not
sitting there
really
about
like a game that's really it's like AC/DC. It's like the same riff every time, but just a little bit different.
hey, I'm not the only one that's noticed that. So anyway, yeah. So I get the feeling Doom is one of those things where I'm just going to look at it and go like, I think I'll keep my money until you do a massive graphics update.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That trailer was like it had really good music. That's all I really remember about it. Well, see, Rage
Doom
2.
always.
Did you play Rage? I didn't play it, but
No, I didn't play it.
there's a Rage 2's coming out. Bethesda had a
Yeah.
pretty good year in terms of E3, in terms of announcements. But yeah.
Yeah. There's always the other usual stuff as well. Halo got released.
Okay.
It's like, oh look, another Halo. Woo.
Yeah, I guess they're
Uh,
gonna keep making money somehow.
yeah. Actually, the one that's slightly interesting is Dying Light 2.
Okay.
Because Dying Light 1 didn't get a lot of coverage, but it was actually a really intriguing game.
Okay.
It's a bit of a mindfuck. Is that?
Oh, actually, the other thing that stood out to me, just to change the topic, but still first person, is Starfield. That was the other big announcement at the Bethesda. That's essentially, it looks like it's going to be Skyrim but in space. So,
Cool.
how does that strike you? Would you play Skyrim in space?
I always thought Skyrim was the land version of Freelancer, which was effectively Skyrim in space.
Yeah. Well, it
So
looks like you're probably
yeah,
extra.
I might enjoy playing it. We forgot the other big one.
Which was?
Last of Us 2, the one that's drawing a whole
Oh,
bunch
sure.
of yeah.
Isn't
So
I
Last
thought
of Us,
there was Last of Us Part 2 out anyway. So this is
no,
how
no,
little I
not
know
Last of
about.
Us Part 2. Last of Us 2, that's the second game.
Okay.
So the Last of Us was so I'm going to rip off Yahtzee. I mean, zero punctuation again. The Last of Us was the first of what you would call bearded dad games.
Yep.
You know, you're got this little spodling that you're dragging along, and you're a bearded dad.
Yep.
Which I think God of War has now devolved to. Which
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
yeah, I guess yeah. Anyway, if there's a market for it, right? So it looks like Last of Us 2 is now turning into the horny teenage lesbian simulator.
Okay.
That was my takeaway from it.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's to be a fair amount of emphasis put into the fact that Ellie Williams is now a lesbian.
Right.
So
All
I'm
right.
just yeah. I'm just
Sure.
like, and she's a teenager, so technically, horny lesbian teenager simulator.
What everybody needs more of.
Well, I did look based on what I've seen in the market. There is a considerable shortage of horny teenage simulator games. I haven't seen any others.
Have you been
so...
on Steam? There's like a bazillion of them.
Okay, I'll take it back then. So yeah, there's a little bit of controversy about that, but you know, fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, and I suppose, yeah, unless you really want to talk about Gears of War 5, best
No.
summarized as Gears
Because
of War.
I'm
Another...
PC Master Race all the way, so no.
I'm trying to figure out if there's any other new PC games coming out. There has to be another. What do you call? Oh no, I suppose Far Cry 5 came out, so there's not going to be another one.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that wraps up all of our E3
I
shit.
think so. I can't think of anything else. I mean, I don't buy that many games, so like for me,
Ooh,
Cyberpunk
what about We
2077
Happy
is like
Few?
the thing that I'm interested in, and probably Fallout 76, depending how it works out. But yeah, the rest of it, whatever.
I forgot about We Happy Few. Have you seen the trailer for that?
Yes,
So that's the game.
it's the one that got
That's the game
banned.
that's banned in Australia. Yeah.
Yeah. So for anybody who hasn't seen it, essentially it's a very cartoony visual style, and it's more or less. It seems like it's going to be Brave New World, like the what's his name? Aldous Huxley's book, more or less, kind of in a game version. So there's a dystopian future where like people are sort of essentially medicated to keep them under control, and there's sort of like a. And the reason it got banned was because essentially it involves drug taking, and apparently the censorship board doesn't like drug taking. So yeah, that's why
Except
it
when
got
they're
punted.
taking drugs.
And yet, the drug taking is a core part of the game because essentially, if you don't take it, you get to see reality more, but you also get in trouble. So, yeah, what do you reckon? Are you excited if you can actually get it somehow?
Oh, I'm sure I'll find it.
Yeah, I mean, they said that like they're not going to recut the game, but it's the internet. You can always get around that. The fact that
Yeah. I was just like, it just means you
turn on the
can't buy it from
VPN,
Steam.
go for the Russian server.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Just because you can't buy it from the, yeah. So you wouldn't do it from the Russian server. I usually go to the Canadian one.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because then Canada and Australia store, like if you download it and put it into your store from the Canadian VPN, it still stays in your downloads. Whereas you have to create a brand new account.
Okay, cool. Well, that works then.
Yeah. Alternatively, the smart thing to do would be to go to GMG, the Green Man Gaming,
Oh, okay.
and get the code through them. Yeah.
Ah,
That's always the way. That's
okay.
always the people get around. That's always the way that people get around it normally.
Okay.
They
That
go to
makes sense.
GMG, buy the game, and then copy the code in.
Yep.
Or if it appears on GOG, which is another service, kind of like Steam,
Mm-hmm.
if they like one of their conditions is that it has to be DRM free. So if the people who make We Happy Few are happy with that,
Yep.
and they release that through that publishing line, you can play it on there. There's that doesn't adhere to Australia's weird ass policy.
Okay.
So yes, I've given numerous ways to get around our limits, but
Cool. I
I
just
mean-
noticed. I just came across a thing like an article saying every game at E3 there's Hitman 2, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I played Hitman 2 back in like the about 20 years ago, but it's a different Hitman 2. It's the new one.
yeah, they redid it after Hitman Absolution. So Hitman Absolution was the end of that canonical era, and they've
Yeah.
restarted it now. So
I don't think I
yeah,
played
I
one.
think that
Did you? What do you think of Hitman 1? The new Hitman 1, not the old one.
the new Hitman one,
Did you play
it left on a cliffhanger.
it? Okay.
So there were 6 episodes in there, and yeah,
I mean, I played
I'm
the
hoping Hitman
absolute
2
crap out of Blood Money back in the day, but I just haven't. Absolution was just not a game I was interested in. Like I bought
Really?
it and played a little bit and went, nah.
Absolution had the most replay value because you could, in fact, if you buy it right now, you can try and beat some of my high scores.
Yeah, no.
And you can set different targets. You can set up your own assassination missions. It's just like I loved Absolution.
But I played for the single player. I like the the storyline.
No,
as
this
much
isn't
as there
single
is one.
player. So what you can, so if I mean we're friends on Steam, right? Like so
Yeah.
you can. So
I mean,
what
I've got
happens
it,
is
so I could just
you-
reinstall it. Maybe I'll do that someday.
yeah, yeah. So you can just try and beat my times.
Okay. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. All right. I think that's it for this
Probably won't.
E3 discussion. Yep. Cool. Thanks, everyone.
It's longer than any episode we've ever made.